Zachitika kuti zachitika nthawi zanji kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni. Kumwambo wa maliro a malemu Lafu Kasambala anthu anawuzidwa kunena kuti mwambo wa maliro ukufunika uyambe ndipo a vice president achedwerapo, koma chonsecho panalibe ripoti lokhuza kayendedwe kena kalikonse ka a president ka makamaka wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dziko lino malemu Dr. Saulos Chilima. Izi kodi adadziwa bwanji? Takhani pomwepo pamene titi tikupatsireni tsatanetsatane wa ripoti limenelo lomwe akuwerenga ndi Minister of Justice. Takhani pomwepo.
Contact with the Mzuzu Tower at 12 minutes past 10. But according to the commission report, they were very calm, as if nothing has happened. Furthermore, the commission had evidence of 2 communications via WhatsApp and Telegram between the passengers in the aircraft during the flight, including the reported text message from late Inspector Chimaneni to Mrs. Winnie Nyondo at about 10 minutes past 10. Mark the time, 10 minutes past 10, which text message said, and I quote, "Too much turbulence." You can see that on Honorable Chair at page 74 of the report of the Commission of Inquiry. Again, Honorable Chair and members, reflect back on what I said on the BFU, that the strange maneuvers start from around 10:09:50 to around 10:15 or 10:12 that morning. And mind you, the landing gear by 10:12 or 10:16, the landing gear is on down. And Mr. Late Chimaneni is texting Winnie Nyondo at 10 minutes past 10. This is 6 minutes before impact. And the owner says, too much turbulence on this flight. Maybe he's a passenger, he doesn't know what's happening. The above evidence is not consistent, in my opinion, Honorable Chair and members, with the finding by the Commission of Inquiry that there was no indication that the pilot was under any stress or anxiety. The Commission should have further interrogated the above inconsistencies in the evidence, which showed that the crew did not declare an emergency at 12 minutes past 10 hours when they contacted Mzuzu Airport, and after performing very strange maneuvers where the aircraft was in some places climbing up and in other places descending down, yet it was several miles away from the destination airport at Mzuzu, and at the same time, the crew had already lowered the landing gear of the aircraft and put the flap selection to position 1, even before having sight of the destination air drone. You can verify that in the report at page 79 of the Commission of Inquiry report. It appears that the Commission never considered these matters worth of any further investigations. It should also be noted that the President had delegated the late Vice President to represent the President at the funeral of late Kasambala, SC in Katabe on 10th June 2024. Let me take that again, Honorable Chair. This committee should note that His Excellency the former President, Dr. Lazarus Makathi Chakwera, had delegated the Vice President, late Dr. Saulos Chilima, to represent the President at the funeral of late Lafu Kasambala in Katabe on 10th June 2024. This was acknowledged by the Commission of Inquiry at page 15 of the report. It should be further noted that the aircraft was given a take-off clearance from runway 14 at Kia, and it was airborne at 17 minutes past 9. And the estimated time of arrival at Mzuzu Airport was at 2 minutes past 10. Mark those times. The aircraft was cleared to take off around, and it took off around 17 minutes past 9. and it was estimated to arrive at Mzuzu Airport at 2 minutes past 10. And it is carrying the Vice President of the country, who is going to represent the President of the country at the funeral of Raf Kasambara in Nkatabe, not in Mzuzu, in Nkatabe. It was also evidence of Mr. Moyo that he had last spoken to the crew at 12 minutes past 10, when the aircraft established radio communication or contact with Mzuzu Airport. You can verify that at page 27 of the Commission of Inquiry report. Yet, according to the information before the Commission of Inquiry, the funeral ceremony of late Raf Kasambara in Nkatabe started at 10 o'clock. And those present were actually told that the late Vice President had been delayed. I want to repeat that one, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. This aircraft is carrying the late Vice President, who has been delegated by the State President to represent him at the funeral of late Kasambara in Nkatabe, not in Mzuzu. It is scheduled to arrive in Mzuzu at 2 minutes past 10. In my opinion, Nkatabe and Mzuzu are about 45 kilometers apart. Therefore, the Vice President was supposed to be driven from Mzuzu to Nkatabe for at least 30 minutes, which means he was expected in Mzuzu, in Nkatabe rather, at around 11:15, not earlier than that. Yet, the Commission of Inquiry states that the funeral ceremony of Raf Kasambara is starting at 10 o'clock. Why? Because the people present there are told that the Vice President has been delayed. However, how could anyone have announced that the Vice President was delayed at 10 o'clock in Nkatabe, when the Vice President's arrival in Mzuzu was at 2 minutes past 10, and he was supposed to drive from Mzuzu to Nkatabe for at least 45 minutes. But somebody at the funeral announces at 10 o'clock that the Vice President has been delayed. Let's start the funeral ceremony. And the Vice President was supposed to be driven from Mzuzu to Nkatabe for at least some 35 minutes. The Vice President's arrival time at Nkatabe should have been 11 o'clock, not earlier than that day. Yet an announcement was made at 10 o'clock that the Vice President had been delayed even before the aircraft had crashed at 16 minutes past 10. If you go to the PFU report, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the aircraft is impacting the ground at 16 minutes past 10. At 12 minutes past 10, the pilots or the crew established their last contact with Mr. Moyo at Mzuzu. Yet, at 10 o'clock in Nkatabe, some official announces to the mourners there that the Vice President has been delayed. Let's start the funeral ceremony. And it started. This is coming from the Commission of Inquiry report. The Commission did not interrogate who had authorized the funeral service of late Raf Kasambara to start at 10 o'clock without the late Vice President, who had been delegated by the President and who was scheduled to arrive in Mzuzu at 2 minutes past 10. Furthermore, who advised the funeral gathering at 10 o'clock that the late Vice President had been delayed? Yet the late Vice President was scheduled to land at Mzuzu Airport at 2 minutes past 10. On the probable cause of the accident, the Commission stated that from the evidence before the Commission, the aircraft accidents are attributable. That's now general. It says aircraft accidents are generally attributable to 3 factors. 1, human factor. 2, environmental factors, including weather, and technical factors. This was merely a theoretical assessment of the aircraft accidents generally, not this particular accident. but that was the conclusion of the Commission of Inquiry, that it was either human factor, environmental factor, or technical factors, because generally aircraft have accidents on the basis of those three factors. Ultimately, the Commission concluded that the probable cause of the accident was a combination of environmental factors and human factors. Honorable Chair and members, you can see that at page 80 of the Commission of Inquiry report. It is clear that the Commission reached the above conclusions based on probabilities rather than cogent facts. It should be noted that while the Commission had taken note of the interim report by the BFU and its content, the Commission did not allude to the fact that at the time of publication of the interim report, BFU had not yet received the expert opinion from the German meteorological services provider, which BFU had asked to compile meteorological expert opinion concerning the weather conditions along the flight path and in particular in the area of the accident site. Furthermore, the interim report by the BFU did not make any findings as to the cause of the aircraft accident. More particularly, the interim report by the BFU did not attribute the aircraft accident to bad weather. Yet the Commission of Inquiry attributes it to weather and...
Zachitika kuti? Zachitika nthawi zanji? Kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani? Musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi. Tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni.